Hello everyone and welcome to Beer Lay, my new channel all about beer. Glad you guys could come, tune in, and have a cold one with me today. Today we're going to be reviewing this puppy right here, the Augustiner Helles, which has actually some quite significance to both me and to this channel. But before we do that, I'm going to first talk about a little bit about the channel, what to expect in the next couple days, weeks, months, and years. And then we're going to get this guy opened up and tasted. So let's do that. So starting today, I'm going to be uploading a beer review for each of the next 5 days. And after that, there's not really much of a plan. So most of the stuff that I'm going to be uploading on the channel is going to be beer reviews. However, I do want to kind of spice it up and talk about like other beer related topics, just so that you guys can get a little bit more info on beer, maybe learn something, and just get excited about different types of beer. So if you guys want to leave me comments or suggestions, maybe a beer that you'd like to see reviewed or a beer topic that you guys want to hear more about, please do that down in the comments. And while you guys are down there, make sure you guys give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. All right, enough of me yabbing along. Let's just get this guy opened up and taste him. But before we do that, let's get a closer look at this bottle and learn a little bit of history about the Augustiner Brewery. Augustiner Brewery Wagner KG was first opened in 1328. Yes, 1328. Making it the oldest brewery in Munich. Monks first settled the region in 1294, and I guess because they were bored and didn't have anything else to do, and Xbox hadn't been invented yet, started brewing their own beer. It was owned by the church until 1803, when the state took over ownership, and a few years later was bought by Anton and Teresa Wagner, who passed it down to their son Joseph, whose initials are still represented on the Augustiner logo, JW. The brewery has continued to pass down generation after generation, and the majority of the brewery's ownership still lies in the Wagner family's hands today. Last year, Augustiner produced just over 1.5 million hectoliters of beer, about a third of which are of the Helles variety, which we'll be drinking today. It only comes in half-liter bottles, which cost about €1.50 and has 5.2% alcohol by volume, and is, of course, brewed according to the Munich purity laws of 1487, which later would be known as the German purity laws of 1516. The Augustiner Helles. So the Augustiner website actually calls this beer a special, mild, lively, long fermented, and above all else refreshing beer. Alone in its own taste, a treat for every beer drinker. All right, so enough of me yabbing along. Let's get this guy opened up, poured into a glass, and taste in here, why don't we? All right. Now, first things first, let's look at this beautiful color. It is a very light beer. Well, you might be asking why that is. Well, the beer is called Helles, which doesn't mean, hell, hot and fiery, where the devil lives. It actually means light in German. So it's kind of to be expected that this is going to be a light colored beer. It's not dark in the sense of light and dark. Let's take a little sniff of this. In a stunning turn of events, it smells like a beer. Boy, is that delicious. Now, this isn't the first time I've actually had this beer. I've had many of these beers, but in the past, we're actually going to talk about the first time I've ever had one of these beers. And no, this is like just so hard to describe. This beer is such a quality, good beer. It's not like over the top. It's not like crazy in any different flavors or anything like that. It's just, there's a lot of good taste. You can taste the hops. You can taste the barley in it. But it's just not overwhelming in any way, shape, or form. It's just such a good traditional style German Bavarian beer. Nothing else can really describe it in any other way. This isn't really like the traditional way that you're going to be drinking one of these beers. Traditionally, you're going to be in Munich, in the brewery, out in the beer garden, whatever. You're going to have a 1 liter mass of beer. You're going to be in your lederhosen and your dirndl. This is definitely like an outside, like kind of a beer with like a bunch of your friends and stuff like that just hanging out. So as I've already said, and as it says right here on the front of the bottle, it is a lager beer, and that is the exact same definition of like an American lager. I'll probably do a video on lagers and ales. Those are pretty much the two main types of beer families that beers are brewed. But just know that lagers come from Germany. Typically, these traditional beers are lager beers. It's definitely this like traditional, light in color, very grainy beer. It's not as hoppy as like an ale is going to be. So this is definitely like a little bit milder. This is a very, very standard traditional beer. I mean, the brewery is more than 500 years old. This beer is solely brewed according to tradition. So I kind of alluded to this earlier as well. So this is my first German beer. I lost my German beer virginity to this beer. It was back in 2012. in Munich. Right across the street from the Augustiner Brewery is where we were staying in our hostel, and they had this beer in the lobby. We then, a couple days later, went to the brewery itself and had a delicious Moss and dinner at the Augustiner Brewery. This brewery is actually really, really cool because you go in and it's just like ultra. They have these huge dining halls, like the big chandeliers and the huge long tables with the benches on it, and you got like the girls and dirndls and the guys in lederhosen like carrying like 20 beers all at the same time. It's just like the most typical traditional Bavarian style beer, food, everything. Dude, Augustiner is like to the T. Again, this beer is brewed according to tradition and not according to, whatever the hipsters are doing. So this is the first time I ever had a German beer, and it's just so different to American style beers. There's just more flavors going on. It's not heavier, it's not strong. I mean, I think a Bud Light is like 4.8% alcohol. This is only 5.2, so strength is relatively the same. There's just more flavor going on in this beer. It doesn't taste like piss water. This is you just got so many different flavors. You're really tasting the barley, you're really tasting the hops. Oh man, it's just so good. It's so delicious. I can't praise it enough. So when I first had this beer, I realized it opened up my eyes, you know what I mean? Like I was awakened to this new, different taste and style of beer that I was really accustomed to living in the US. And at the time I was only 21 anyway, so it's not like my beer drinking expertise was even that high at the time. But this is really the beer that got me excited about beers. This beer you can pretty much get anywhere. Definitely anywhere in Germany. So in the US, I haven't actually seen the Helles beer, but I have seen the Edelstoff, which is their export beer. Tastes relatively similar. Oh man, what else can I say about this beer? This beer should always be in your refrigerator. It goes with like every occasion. Like you're having like a burger with some friends, dude, grab a freaking Augustiner. You're out like, getting ready to go out to the clubs, dude, grab an Augustiner. Pre-game with a freaking Augustiner. It's just like, it's the perfect beer. This is like the perfect beer. It goes well with any occasion. Oh, man, this is so good. Oh man, too bad it's already November. Kind of want to go to Munich and go to like Oktoberfest and like, man, just like sit in a beer tent, listen to like Oompa music, eat like, bratwurst, drink an Augustiner. Oh man, it sounds so good right now. I once went to Munich a year ago, simply just to have an Augustiner Moss beer. I didn't have anything else going on. It was a long weekend, so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go to Munich and I'm going to have an Augustiner. That is how good this beer is. It will literally make you drive across the country just to have it. All right, guys, I'm almost done with this puppy. Augustiner Helles lager beer from Munich, brewed since 1328. Man, that's a long time ago. Guys, let me know in the comments what you guys think of this beer. Is there anything else that you want to say? Is there anything that I didn't clear up that you'd like to know? Please leave it in the comments below. Once again, I would remind you guys to subscribe and thumbs up this video if you guys liked it. And until the next time, which is going to be tomorrow, yeah, Prost!